Hello and welcome to a new Leadership Playbook. Today we're going to discuss free to be me. We're going to talk about autonomy, flexibility, and adaptability in our lives. Of course, how it relates to the workplace. I'm Keshawn Hughes, and I'm joined by the incomparable Natalie Jobity.
Natalie, totally.
We always open with introductions just to familiarize you with who we are. And so, Natalie, would you like to begin?
Sure. My name is Natalie Jobity. I'm your brilliance unveiler, as I like to call myself. My company is The Unveiled Way, and I am passionate as a leadership coach for women to empower them to bring their best, most potent, powerful, purposeful leadership posture into their professional business arena so that the impact they make is undeniable. And I'm also very passionate because one of my buzzwords for the year is unapologetic. And I always get a sudden fire in my being when I even say it or write it. I want more women to see more women lead unapologetically. And if I have a role to play, it's in that, I believe that the impact that I always say divinely designed to make is only going to come when we are fully embracing the brilliance of our being. And that's not just our doing, because our doing matters, of course, but Keshawn and I were just talking about the importance of our being as leaders, because it's about, at the end of the day, the impact we make as leaders has a lot to do with, as I say, who we be, more than what we do. What we do is important still, but who we be is the game changing, is the culture creating, is the making aspect that so many times gets lost in the shuffle of all the have tos, the shenanigans that we feel we must put out, as especially as women. I always say I care about the men in leadership as well, but my niche and focus and passion is around women in leadership and making sure that we are able to be the best of ourselves to make the impact that we're divinely designed to make.
Powerful. Already taking notes, unapologetic, culture creating. These are words that truly align with me, Natalie. And I want to share the quote before I talk about who I am in my organization that you shared with me right before we called, talking about being and the importance of being. And this directly ties to autonomy and how we show up as our divinely designed autonomous selves. Is my way of being is the number one driver of results. My way of being, your way of being is the number one driver of results, of impact. So thank you, Natalie, for sharing that with me. I want that to be a seed planted with everyone as we have this conversation. I'm Keshawn Hughes. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a business owner. I will say I'm a corporate retiree, but I still go in for consulting engagements. I'm on one now that I probably will talk about today as we discuss autonomy because it comes up in my day to day. The organization that I lead and founded is called Neurosavvy Leadership, where we have neuroscience informed supports through coaching, training, and leadership workshops and content generation to help build inclusive leaders and inclusive workforces. I'm an advocate for inclusive leadership. Inclusive leadership involves being a healthy, autonomous person and allowing others autonomy to shine. So I'm so excited about this topic we're discussing today, free to be me. I'm curious, Natalie, because we always, after our calls, then talk about what our next topic will be for our next podcast episode. I'm curious for you, Natalie, what made this like rise to the top for you? If you go back and remember when we talked a couple
I
of
know, because we came up with this idea a while ago.
Or what's resonant with you today that you definitely make sure you want to share because it is important, because it is invaluable.
Yeah. I think, I mean, we don't often use the word autonomy in our conversations or whatever, but we put it a very easy way as free to be me. And I think what I get from that right now is there's such a, what's the word to say? There's such power and potency and freedom. And when we have when we in the right posture, the right environment, the right role to give us that freedom, and I see it as tied to, because I always use the word brilliance, to bring the best of our brilliance to the game. And our brilliance is everything that we bring as a leader: our expertise, our talents, our strengths, our achievements, our accomplishments, our vision. We bring all of that brilliance. But when we have the freedom and autonomy to aim that, I'm lost for the word right now, but literally like to harness that in the way that's most impactful. Like, wow, like if we all could be free as a bird in our work and feel that freedom, because with that freedom comes power and agency and authority and confidence, and that's when we can really fly. Like, it's like flying, right?
It is like, oh my God, what a great visual. I love thinking of animals with wings, birds, butterflies. That's what's coming to mind for me. They're so symbolic of freedom. I'm jealous when I see them soaring just on the wind, the currents of the wind. It's like, you guys are up there playing. You're playing in my face right now. So unfair. So unfair. But yes, I feel that. I feel that experience, that imagery, that idea of freedom. And I feel like at certain points throughout my life, and especially in my career, foreign concept. Completely would not have, I don't think I knew the term autonomy. I don't think I definitely didn't associate freedom with work. I feel like work was, we were talking about this before this call, compartmentalized for me. Like, I have my work self, I have my home self, I have my friend self, I have my family self. There were all these different selves I was managing.
Mm-hmm.
And as human beings, that's a natural state. We do have different selves. However, they never met. They never had like a, come together moment. Yes.
When we evolve, those cells become integrated as one. And that's the heart of evolved posture, evolved leadership. We talked about that in another episode. But it's integrating all those aspects. And what I want to say back to what you were saying about back in the day, who would associate work with freedom? Because I think we don't associate work with fun, with play.
That part.
It's like oxymorons, right? Work and play, work and fun, oxymoron.
Yes, exactly. Oh, this is so good.
It doesn't have to be, people. That's what we're here to say.
Right.
We're saying work can be play and play can be work.
Yes. Oh my, this is so good. This is like giving me chills. I love this because these are literally words that came up in my coaching sessions this week with career professionals, all women this week. Yes. I'm like looking at my brain like, yes, who were talking about this. This came from them, as we were co-creating the session and using the goals that they have for their careers and for each conversation we have to guide us. The word fun came up, and this was with a very newly person fresh out of college. I'm coaching, who is experiencing. She's had 3 different jobs. She's been out of college for a few years, and so she's finding her way. And she had some hesitation in our call yesterday with combining the ideas of fun with work. She has a very, of course, just coming from where she grew up, environments, leaders that she followed, people that she knows. Work was a compartmentalized experience. All the way to a people leader who is senior in her career, had the same conversation the same day. And that came up where she talked about the beingness. She's in her leadership journey where she hit a wall with doing. And so we started to discuss being. Like, so who do you want to be when you go into a room? What kind of energy do you want to create while you're there? What kind of experience do you want to walk away from and reflect upon? That kind of essence came up in the conversation. And she talked about having more fun. She can see it in herself and others she's engaging with. And so it's a reciprocal experience. People can have fun in real corporate settings, both hybrid and in person and virtual, because I've actually had those conversations with people this week. So I just want to share those real life stories of leaders that I've talked about at different stages in their career. And it comes back to this piece of autonomy. So how safe they feel to be their individual, divinely designed selves, as Natalie so eloquently described.
You make me think of somebody I had a potential client I had a conversation with too, I was so impressed with her self-awareness, because I know she's probably not even 35, if that. I don't even know her age, but and one of the things she said, she's looking to leave her career and find a whole new industry, and one of her criteria for that was she has autonomy, and she used the word autonomy, I believe, in the conversation, which I was like, who uses that word, right? She used it. but she wants even more. And she's very aware. I want to work from home. She had very clear criteria of what she's looking for. And that's like when you have so literally was like, when you have that freedom to be me, you know your guardrails, your boundaries, your desires, your wants, you know what to ask for. So you can say, I want to work from home 100% of the time. I want to be able to be in any country I want to be, or any state, city, because I don't have to be stuck in one place. I want to be able to have the freedom to, whatever matters to you. Autonomy is about then creating the environment where you can most flourish and thrive in your workplace. And then if you might say, or you, for me, I would say now, as an entrepreneur, I have the autonomy to make more fun in my business, to have more play in my quote unquote work. So that we talked about this again before, another episode before, but as business owners, we have so much autonomy, which is one of the things one of the best things I think about entrepreneurship. There's also some things that are hard, the ebbs and flows, but one of the best things about being an entrepreneur, I think why I can't see myself being anything else, is that autonomy I have to create. And I also evolved enough to know I don't have to do it that way or this way. Even as an entrepreneur, I can do it Natalie's way. Natalie's way, the way that she best brings her brilliance out, with the work-life integration that makes sense to me, with the people that I want to partner and play with. That's about autonomy.
Yes. I'm thinking of just the definition, a simple definition for people to think about I want you to consider yourself. It's self-governing. This is the simple expression and definition of autonomy, is the quality or state of self-governing. So being sovereign. So when we think about being free, yes, but sovereign to me brings up the idea of yes. Ooh, tingles. Yes.
I literally have on my laptop, I'm not going to be transparent,
Yes.
because sovereign is one of my big words. I am sovereign. I have the word I am sovereign on my laptop.
Yes.
So I can remind myself I am sovereign when I don't feel sovereign.
Yes, absolutely. Self-affirmation is so important. I think in something that you talked about, because I'm wanting to connect the dots between these ideas of autonomous as an individual, autonomous on a team, within an organization, as an entrepreneur, as someone who works in corporate. Autonomy can come about in any of those places, in any of those environments. It is environmental. And I think what helps you understand and be able to check in with yourself if healthy autonomy is occurring for you is values. So sovereignty is a value for you, and wanting to align that with just being align your values with yourself. Am I being in alignment with my own values in this moment, in this environment? Am I in having shared values with a team, shared values with an organization, with a leader? Whenever there is a conflict or a misalignment in values, I do feel like that could be a challenge to my autonomy and to my sovereignty.
Yes. And so it's funny. So I love that, because I came up with this acronym like when I was walking.
I love this.
To do with our topic, and it's PAVES, even though it doesn't really have a great sound. So when you're free to be, you aligned with your persona, your aspirations, your values, your energy, your strengths. So I'm saying, like, when you are in that free to be state, you have alignment with all those things. Your persona, in your career, your persona, your aspirations, your values, your energy, your strengths. Bring that integration of all those things that gives you the capacity to be autonomous.
I love that. I just put PAVES in the comments, and I'm thinking of paving a way. I'm thinking of like
that.
Yes, it paves your pathway, your roadmap to personal satisfaction,
purpose.
Legacy. I think when you were talking about too, I don't know if this was before or after we began, but you want to just be able to check in. Am I in alignment with my goals that I've set for myself for this year, for this organization, for this team, for this project? And looking back over time, like how well was I on this path that I paved for myself to really live in a state of healthy autonomy?
Yeah. So I love that you made that connection with paving a path, because and I want us to address this, even though I know we've talked about it before, but I think it's so important in this context of autonomy to talk about what is the environment what is the environment that's required for a leader, a professional, a executive to feel autonomous, Keshawn?
So important. I think psychological safety is key within, if it's interpersonal. So there has to be interpersonal psychological safety. There's internal psychological safety. So can I even be free? Am I autonomous and safe in this environment, this human body environment? So health as a way to ensure that, making sure that my well-being is in order as an individual, and then going into those interpersonal engagements, one or more, I have to feel psychologically safe. So am I safe to challenge others, to make mistakes, to share new ideas,
to speak my truth?
Yes. Yes. To show up the way I look, as I look, like
the way I want to show up.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The way I feel most comfortable and confident is tied to that. I feel like, so there's the self-worth aspect as an individual, and then there's the psychological safety aspect when it's interpersonal interplay there within teams, organizations, companies, and so on.
I think that's so important. That's why I brought it up, because I feel like,
I'm glad you did.
I mean, you can be an autonomous individual in your own right, but the environment you can be could not allow you to be that. So it's the personal, and it's also the environment that helps with the full autonomy and free to be. Because if the environment is a constrained, constricting, toxic, whatever environment, even though you have the autonomy in yourself, you can't exercise it. Right? Because that environment does not allow it. So I also wanted to talk about, and we addressed this before in other podcast episodes too, is to do with autonomy. Is I feel like one has to have, in terms of environment wise, it's connected to safety, but that sense of belonging, that sense of belonging. So one of my clients and I, we keep bringing this belonging topic up because it's one of her, let's say, touch points, if that's a word to use. It's one of her touch points, and she's realizing that her sense of belonging impacts her ability to, let's say, shine.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so important. I'm going to go into brain anatomy here. So our autonomy is activated when we can use our prefrontal cortex. This is the area of our brains right behind our foreheads. Some people say it's the higher brain. So we have the lower, middle, and then the higher brain. This is the part of our brain that is envisionary. It's our decision-making place in our brain. It helps to calm our emotions when we feel distressed, when we feel offended, when we feel challenged and afraid for whatever reason. We have, I like to call it a pause button in this prefrontal cortex that helps to pause and calm down and neutralize any emotions or experiences internally that are not aligned with our ability to stay the course, to show up in a way that helps us to feel as our best selves. And so absolutely belonging, when we are feeling a sense of belonging, that's when this part of our brain is activated. That's when we can make decisions. That's when we can be creative and have ideas and sparks of insight. Innovation can happen. Co-creation can happen within teams. People feel safe to share. People feel safe to take their time within boundaries that are given, deadlines that are given. Okay, I know I have until in 2 weeks from now to be able to create this new initiative, right? So having the structure there, but then the ability to then be free in between is so important, so balanced. And I can do that and activate this part of my brain so that I can show up in that way as an individual with others when belonging is cultivated within a team and an organization.
You said something that just struck me just now too, that I think is important to say, to make clear.
Yes.
When we're talking about free to be me, we're not talking about la-di-da, like, no, you know what I mean? So, I mean, we know you understand.
I mean, yes, but not right. No, yes, but in this, we're talking about in a work career, in professional context, leadership context, I would say.
And I want to see, when you said the word structure, that's what struck me. It's that we have to have certain, again, back to boundaries or guardrails. Yes. So even as free as a bird, but with some kind of structure of like the destination you're going. Yes. It's not, when I say la-di-da, it's not just like aimless. I'm going to be, impulsive, or I'm going to not have.
Oh, that's so good, Natalie.
So the structure is also, there's healthy structure.
Absolutely.
That keeps us focused on our goals, our mission, our outcomes. We need that. And within that, we free to be me, kind of,
Oh my
right?
gosh, this is so good. I'm so glad that you caught that and we made a pin in that to bring that about. I'll just share an example. I recently began a consulting engagement to build out content for a major organization for their Center for Inclusion. And when I got there, there's a whole lot of information sharing, a whole lot of information that must be overhauled or created. And I had to start at the foundation and build some brand guidelines. I needed some structure. You brought me in as this creative thought leader, subject matter expert. But what can help me? What can give me that structure, that guidance to help me know from where to start and how far I can go? But then once I have that in place, I can just play. I can then create, and it all aligns. The colors, the graphics that we utilize, the language that we use. It's all been documented within these guidelines that NeuroSavvy was able to create for this organization. And now we can play. Now we can create. And I feel safe to do so. I got check-in from the people who need to check off on that. And now we can move fast. So in the beginning, it was a slower period, the information gathering, the understanding, the immersion, if you will. But once that happens and is put into place in a structure, in a guideline, and these can be whatever your source of truth is. That's what organizations use. It could be a document, it can be an agreement of something of that sort. But once you have that in place and we have that sense of safety to play, then we can play.
That's a great example of exactly what we're talking about today, which is there is autonomy, and autonomy doesn't usually have walls. Like, it's free to be me. Think of the sky. The sky is limitless.
Yes.
In a workplace context, and even in life context, we're human beings. So when we need, there's always edges around, how we operate. And so certain structures in place, and Keshawn's example here is perfect. We're not talking about structure as in a box.
No,
that kind of structure at all. It's a new leadership playbook. So we don't talk about a big open field that has maybe some fences, back to like boundaries, where we can shift the fences as needed, but it contains us in a structure that matters in terms of value, mission, again, goals, vision. All those things are part of the structure that in a corporate setting or business setting that allows you then to play within that. Yes. That's and be free. And be free.
Yes.
So, gosh, time goes so fast.
Wow. Yes.
I know. So in terms of what we want the audience to leave and take away with, I was thinking of a couple of things. So we can go with I think we talked a little bit enough about this, but what's the posture required to be autonomous? If you like, we have addressed that, or we should go say more.
I would love to talk about it, and then we can go into our wrap up. But yes, we've talked about this, the posture of an evolved leader, posture shifting to get into your healthy leadership space so that you can feel connected and impactful personally and interpersonally as a leader. Just that posture that you need to have. For me, I think it starts with, once again, that sense of self-worth.
Yes.
And autonomy is so closely tied to a person's self-worth. My worthiness, you started the conversation, I'm divinely designed. Believing that. There are so many people, I'm just a cog in a wheel, or,
I'm not that special.
I'm not that. Oh my gosh. There's a reggae song that I used to hear when I would go into the clubs, and it was like, I'm so special. I'm so special, so special. I was literally thinking of that song before I got here today. So that plays in my mind as a mantra. No, I am so special. I am so special.
I love that.
Purpose. Yes. And so in how I know that when I'm in total, a healthy space of self-worth as an individual, as by myself or with others, is if I feel like my values are in alignment. If I can believe that I'm special, and then that's reflected back to me interpersonally. Like, yes, you are special. Yes, we're glad you're here. You are welcome. I belong. You belong. Let's create. Let's play. Let's go together.
Yeah.
It's grounded in that self-worth, having that healthy self-worth posture, believing that you are special because you are, and showing up that way.
Yeah. So you use the word values, and I want to say back to self-worth. I know for me, when I feel valued for what I bring, so when I feel valued for what I bring, I'm able to have a more autonomous structure. I think it's also tied to self-worth, which it's a big thing for women. I think, a lot
Yes.
of us struggle with confidence. And so
Yes.
when you stand fully confidently in self-assured in who you are and what you bring and who you be, then you are able to engage that autonomy. Because if you're not confident, like back to self-worth, if you're not confident in yourself, your abilities, your gifts, your talents, your strengths, any of that, how can you really be autonomous in any way? Because you're going to be trying to shape shift, people please,
That's it.
and that has nothing. That is the opposite of being free. So
Yes.
so another posture required to be free to be me is to be authentic,
Yes.
to be genuinely you, and and feel safe enough to bring that out in the environment. So there's that. I actually also said about so I wrote down again back to one of my favorite words,
Yes.
that unapologetic stance. If you can really own that, like, I am sovereign, I bring this, I am great at, I'm special, I'm valuable, and I'm valued. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then you can then shift the game. You can, the impact. So that's when the impact part comes in, like, so much more powerfully. So when you are able to take on an unapologetic leadership posture, then autonomy is a no-brainer. It's effortless. It's like you don't have to even think about it.
It's so good. It's tied into our behaviors and our habits. We can create a habit of being autonomous, and it's tied to the physiology here, our dopamine response. So when we show up and we're making decisions, and they turn out to be good, impactful decisions, we release dopamine, which is our feel-good neurotransmitter, and it goes throughout our body, and that helps close the loop on a habit. So we then want to repeat it. We want to make this, okay, if I did good doing this within this structure, I'm going to do it again. And then when it's reflected back, when people are applauding you, when they are encouraging you, thanking you, that creates a bonding. It releases oxytocin to help us feel closer. And so it's this wonderful neurotransmitter, positive oriented soup that we are experiencing as individuals and with one another. And it's repeatable. It's repeatable. So often we have habits that are associated with feeling less valued. And so that is a habit we have to break.
Right. Because that's repeatable too. And that's not healthy.
Yes.
It's not a healthy one.
Right.
So I love you saying it that way in terms of like the habit and so to extend upon that point, for you to repeat the good habit, the good oxytocin behavior, inducing behavior, you have to be able to take a step back and savor the success, the win, or whatever that got you to that place. So you can go, this is what I did, this is how I was, this is how I felt, and here's how I repeat that the next time.
That's so good.
That's when I'm sorry, I want to tie this back to what do as coaches. This again, we don't sell ourselves on this podcast, but I have to make a point here of the benefit and the gain of having that objective feedback, that person that reminds you of, remember when you did this, and to take you back in your memory bank of, oh my gosh, yes, I achieved XYZ, and this is how I felt, and here's what my challenge is now. But because I conquered that before, and my coach is reminding me of the posture I was in, I can then replicate exactly what Keshawn said. So having a coach to guide you on the journey so that you could continue to grow and evolve to be that leader that is so strong and able to be autonomous in her being is everything.
It's everything. Mic drop. This is like, there's so much more we could say, but I was going to bring that up too. Having an empathetic, trustworthy in your life. Everyone's life deserves to be witnessed. And coaching is a great way to be witnessed. It's a great way to be reminded, to be encouraged, to be challenged in a psychologically safe dynamic that will help you grow. It'll help build your sense of autonomy. It'll make you better. It'll make you better in every way. I love that. I work with coaches. My friends are coaches. We believe in this. We believe in this. We have different approaches, but we come together to share on this platform. Hopefully you'll take away something useful and share it with others. That's our goal. That's our goal.
And so all of you who are live and all of you who are looking at this replay, we would just ask that for you to let's leave a quick tip from a discussed today. So I guess my quick tip would be to put on that posture that we talked about, where you in yourself, in your being, can engage that capacity to be autonomous. And that is about the paving, the persona, aspirations, values, energy, strengths, that you can be aligned with all those things. And that's how you can start to step into autonomous way of being and leading.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful quick tip. I just put in the chat a link to a survey that Natalie and I are collecting through this podcast series. We want to know what other topics you think we should cover. We've talked about so many were shared today. You can go back and look at our YouTube series. We had a whole savor series to talk about how to savor your success, how to savor relationships, moments, self-care that are so important to leaders, to women leaders particularly. We gave evidence-based, supportive, practical steps you can follow to do just that. And we talked about evolved leadership on this series. We've talked about posture shifting. So many of the gems, they're all related. They're connecting and tying together. So we welcome you to please take this survey, provide your feedback, and let us know what other topics we should cover. We have in 2 weeks another topic coming up that we're really excited about, that is personally touches.
Yeah.
Natalie, do you want to share what that topic is about? Leadership, high achievers, and perfectionism. But you had such a great title for it. I can't bring it up.
I don't remember the title either right now.
But yes, if you are a high achiever, or if you identify in that in some way, or being perfectionistic, if that has been something you've been labeled as, maybe a badge of honor that you've held for yourself, please join us in 2 weeks. We're going to be back in the same space talking about that topic on a new leadership playbook. We're going to be giving playbook practical tips on how to address that so that you can be more successful. I would even say, if you're operating in a perfectionistic, high achieving way, I would question your healthy autonomy. I absolutely would.
Because we kind of hinted at that, like if you're trying to people please and all that, you're not able to be autonomous, because you're not free, you're not fully you're not authentic to who you really are.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, so this was great. We could always have 10 times more things we could share.
Yes, we
the
do.
one coming up September 28th, that I know is going to be a because also Keshawn and I have also walked that walk of perfectionism, perfectionistic. So we are going to speak very authentically about our journey to get out of that trap. Join us again, and leave your Keshawn's going to share her. She has a group right now. Share your. We really would value your feedback on topics or what you want us to get more deep in. And again, thank you for tuning in to a new leadership playbook. We will see you next time.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye.